welcome. There we go. Hello, and welcome to DooM WAD Travelogue. I'm Nick, and this is a show where we say, let's explore new and interesting places through community-built DooM WAD level packs. Yay! Today, I thought let's be pretty straightforward. Let's just continue. Ow, that's loud. It's loud in my ears. Maybe it's not that bad for y'all. I was saying, let's just continue looking at Jackrabbit DooM. I think we're in a bit of an interesting spot with this because last time when we looked, I was just overwhelmed by nostalgia the whole time, and so it was reminding me of an old thing that I knew and enjoyed, so I was just, happy with all of it. But now we are starting and getting to levels that I don't have a lot of familiarity or memory of, so it's going to be kind of new to me, and hopefully I will be viewing it in a more free of those nostalgia goggles, I guess. So maybe I'll have something a little more critical to say, and I think that'll hopefully be a little more interesting. So let's see where our save is. I told it to play music in the background, but it's not doing that, so whatever. Harebrained. Yep, that sounds like what I would call a save. Computers. Wait, do I know this level? Oh, that is a skybox out there. I have a soft spot for skyboxes that in themselves are cubes. There's I believe it was a VR game where you're like interacting with this little dollhouse in the middle of a room. But then if you look up and out, there's a big version of you messing with the room that you're standing in because it's like this big recursive real house dollhouse situation. That was really cool. Oh, I love the RCA cables hanging as like chandeliers. Also, I checked a little bit, and it seems there's only 2 levels left before the episode ended. So, whoops, we could have got through a whole episode and didn't. It's fine. Oh, hi, everybody. Ah, you're little. Ah, you're little. Buggies. Ah! Hi, sir. Again, who gave turtles guns? Ooh, what are you? This, maybe? Armor. Right, we're playing on easy, so we're doing alright. Right, and food was health bonuses, and alright. I think I'm getting back into it. Ah! This is actually the sort of like microchip processor, boards are actually a cool vibe for a level. This is very noisy. I do not like this as a floor. Like, that is just so noisy. Like, it actually kind of gives me a headache trying to interpret what those surfaces are. But like I like the way that the flashing lights over here do look a lot like it's got like an industrial machinery feel with the hazard lights like that. Ah, no little guys. Whoops. No, we're fine. Actually, we're fine. Very simplistic, straight corridor hallway so far. Are you a door? Nope. Oh, right. What was it? There are no... I remember this was a part of like the tutorial last time, is that there are no direct interface doors. The only doors you will ever open will be through switches? Does that sound right? Ow. Alright, fine. Ah! Whoa!
Yum!
Maybe I want to use the, like, shotgun burster to get the little guy. What? Okay, he's new. Right, I have jumps. Jumps are allowed. Jumping game. Rabbit. That's the whole point. Right.
Ow.
Food. Alright. Switch. Aha! So I appreciate that they're working here with, you know, the existing textures from the games, and I think they're doing a good job with it. Like, there's a lot of consistency. There's a lot of, I don't know what the big flashy screen is for, but you know, it's fine. But you know, like a lot of this does look decent, good. It using the existing textures means that everything stays in a very consistent art style, and it feels very cohesive. And maybe that's the word I'm looking for. That being said, this level is really feeling just like hallways. Like, I don't know if this is like trying to be something or like it's just some spaces, I guess. Like, what do you want to do with it, right? And like, well, you know, I guess that is a question, which like, if you decide to work with this set, that is a question you got to answer. All right, what are we going to work with this? How are we going to port this? How are we going to make this? And, okay, maybe that's, you know, asking a bit, because with a lot of these, the original didn't try and answer those questions. It was just like, hey, we need another, ow. We need another, biome is, I guess, what we call it these days, thanks to Minecraft. But it's just like, inside a computer? Okay, boss. It's actually reminding me of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, where there was an inside the computer level there. I feel like this guy is broken. I feel like this is supposed to be working better, or doing anything once you release him. Well, listen. My compatibility settings aren't always correct. I'll deal. Nuts and bolts. Hey, Roo. I was just about to talk about nuts and bolts. Because that had a... Oh, yeah, there he goes. Oh, he's doing it. All right. I'd love to have a little guy ally. Get him. Yeah, get... Whoa, bye. Is he working on, like, a modified Lost Soul? Yeah, good job. Oh, hell yeah. Level of be in the computer, but in, like, a physical sense, not in, like, a Tron sense. I think of nuts and bolts. And... like, you can do stuff with that. Like, you can talk about, like, okay, we have, you know, what elements do we have? We have fans, we have the way that things are stacked, we have, you know, ribbon cables, there's bridges. Like, there's ways that you can use those pieces and build, like, an environment that feels unique and is unique in design because of the, you know, the specifics of it. And oh yeah, this just feels like a headache, actually. Um, but this so far is like, I think it's doing all right, but it's very bland. It doesn't feel like any of this is particularly... Like, I think, like, with the floating platforms, and just all the unique textures, like, I feel like there is a design sense that is being unique to this level, like, specific, like, architectural gimmicks rather than, like, gameplay gimmicks, that are unique to this level, but I'm not really feeling a way in which it is thematic to this level, you know? Which, there are worse sins. So I was reading the README. Actually, I can do it right here. Where it says read this, I did that. And a thing that I hadn't quite noticed before. Oh, you don't see my cursor. Okay. If you look at number 3, the slicer, it's got the little, you know, red and white target in there. And yeah, this is a headache. The little target in there to let you know that it goes and it proceeds on past the target. So it's actually the slicer, the frostbiter, and the railgun. It is showing you that, like, the slicer and the railgun actually cut through targets and the frostbite freezes the target. Like, I didn't notice that when I first played, that it's just like, oh, these are it is not just telling you, like, the look and general, like, action of the weapons, but it is giving you a specific, like, here is how they interact with their targets. That is cool. That's actually nice. Not symbolic, not iconic. Symbology, is that a thing? Is that what I'm thinking of? But, like, it's a nice, like, non-verbal, non-lingual way of explaining the weapons. That fits in a relatively small... It's very condensed, too. That's what I like about it. Ooh, spikes. Iconographic. That could be it. Hey, can they come up here? It's a freaking bug hunt, man! Okay. Here we go. Hello? Ah! Okay. But yeah, like this pillar look. This is at least unique to this. There is a consistency here. So. It's not like I'm going to come in here and say, oh, there was no thought put into this. Like, no, there's definitely... This was definitely thought out, but just like there is coming in here with a critical eye on, like, the design and themes and stuff. It's just like, all right, it is consistent to itself, but it's not, like, expressing anything particular. It is just being consistent to itself. It's fine. It's fine. I also don't really have anything else to talk about. That's the only reason I'm really harping on it. Good thing they give you infinite ammo. No, you will never have to directly open a door. You will have to bust down a lot of fences. All right, is a fence different than a door? I mean, I've talked about windows are different than doors. Where'd you go? Hey. Stop being flat. We are getting a little bit of the, what do you call it? Necessary weapon functionality kind of stuff here. Because, like, yeah, no, using the flamethrower to get those little guys, it is, like, the most... Whether or not it's, like, the most powerful weapon available to me, it is the one that is best suited for the job of dealing with that particular enemy. I love that nonsense in games. Ooh, why is this purple? Ah, because it's a door. I was hoping maybe it was a secret. Oh, hello. Spikes, huh? Alright. Are we about to have a boss fight? Nope, we're just gonna... I like this, this repeating theme of we'd leave the level through down. I do remember the original Jackrabbit had a, the levels would end kind of like Sonic 1 and 2 did because, you know, direct inspiration there. But in the way of, like, there was a sign at the end, and you would flip the sign to claim it, and then you could still run around the screen a little bit while it counted up your stats. But the idea of just like, oh, right, he's a rabbit, so you leave through a burrow. It's very, Bugs Bunny. One of these we're gonna should have taken a left at, Albuquerque. Epic. Oh, yeah. Epic Mega Games. You're approaching! You're approaching! I thought they were just floating there. No, they were approaching. Get out of here. Here we go. Oh, I like that gradient city look in the horizon. I'm very much about this. I'm always looking for good places to take photos. Should I make like a Flickr album of all the screenshots I've taken during the series? You know, again, to stick with the Travelogue idea of just like, yeah, no, here's the Travelogue in photos, because I generally only use the screenshots I take for the YouTube thumbnail, if I'm being honest. Oh, that's so close, but the side of the belt is not moving at the same rate as the top of the belt. Oh, I can't look at that too long. Whew. Hello? Yeah, I do take a lot of screenshots while I'm playing. That's a tank. That was a tank. That's fine. I'm simply in my lane, vibing, blasting. The AC is on. This whole WAD was made specifically for me, it feels like. Oh, hi. Oh, nah, I see, because now we're losing the... Ow. Tech feel. Hey. Kobe? Kobe? Kobe. Ow, ow. Also looks a little bit like a, it looks like a Mega Man 2 building out here. This looks like the intro to Mega Man 2, but red-shifted. Alright, enough. Ow. What? Was that? Alright, good. I forgot. I do have that TNT over there, which I think is basically like a screen clearing bomb kind of deal, but I do not know what the button for that is. You know, we have a read this. Health and points and armor. Press use item to use. Whoa, hello. Okay. It's the enter key. Ow. This area is very cool, actually. Ow, ow, hi! I mean, they're very good. Honestly, they're also very hard to make because of just the way that the Doom engine, like, stores, like, geometry information. Hi. Like, it really prefers to do indoor areas. Any skybox roof is actually just like a flat ceiling with trickery occurring. That's true about real life as well.
Rapid fire.
Oh, okay. Hi? You see, this is kind of what I'm talking about, right? Like, this... Like, I guess this feels a little like a commissary, like a main room kind of thing, right? Like, that looks like it might be a kitchen over there. That's why it's got all the food in it. But, like, you look at the way this one has tables and chairs, and it has decorations, and it has, like, these feel like kind of believable spaces while still, you know, adhering to the rules of using the textures from Jazz, right? So, like, I look at this and I go, like, oh, yeah, no, they totally know how to design, like, kind of believable levels. It's just, how come they did not do that in the last level? Just because it was inside a computer. You could do something... You know how to do something interesting. You're proving it right here. So why didn't you? Whoa! Hi! What? Is this a juke hallway? Just to... First of all, that. But what's this? What is going on here? Nope, that's a checkpoint. I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to explore this way. Right, there's a mirror. Oh, hello. It's a bathroom. This is a bathroom. Oh, hello. Can we... Aha! I love secrets. That's a Game Boy Advance. Is that going to take us to the secret zone? Hold on. Hold on. All right, I'm glad I explored the bathroom. Oh, yeah. Look at that handsome boy. Oh, he gets mad when he shoots. So I guess that's the, ladies and gentle buns sides, I guess. Jackrabbit. Kobe. Nope, that's not the... Oh, wait. How about I just shoot rockets? Oh, they're jumping up in the air at me. Hello, you're glowing. Well, I've learned. have so many weapons that I haven't been using. I know for a fact I talked about this last time with the, like, RPG potion syndrome. No, what if I need it? I'll save the good weapons. I mean, we're also playing on easy, so it's, like, definitely not necessary. Got him! Yeah. Oh, wow, blew out the windows. That's a nice effect. Yeah, the barriers were definitely an old jazz thing. Which, you know, made just as much sense in 2D. Kind of have to destroy them to move through. Not just to move through, but also to, like... It would hurt you and block you, so it's, I don't think that counts as a 2-point swing, but... okay, they want us to go this way. They want me to go that way, so I will refuse to go that way. And instead, I will parkour. There we go. Yeah, it saves about 7 frames. Let's go. Ooh. Wow. What is that I'm getting? I'm glad that it's like telling me on my lower bar there that it's like, hey, this is the... If you've been picking up this ammo type, this is the gun it's for. Okay. That opened something, I assume. Can I get up there? Nope. Can I get up there using a spring? Ha! Yes! There's nothing up here! But I did it! Alright, anyway. Alright. And this one's gonna be tough. Oh, there's a stuff in the way. What we were just dumping? So actually, I was looking at this earlier because this is a different version than I normally use for this show, so I had to reset a bunch of options. The textures aren't being anti-alias now. Now they're crisp. But it is in display options, in hardware render. Here, sprite billboard, y-axis only or x and y-axis. And if I do that, now I believe if I jump, yeah. Now you see the sort of like flat face to it, which doesn't look right, but does make for a wider target to aim for. So I usually play with that off because I kind of love seeing the flatness of it. I love to see the artifice. I'm a big fan of artifice. But yeah, if we're going to be doing platforming like this, maybe I'll leave it on for today. That should be the end of episode 1? Nope. Let's go to Chameleon Planet. What? Map 51? Excuse me? Wow, that's a... Oh, it says yummy. Oh, it says burp. Oh, is this a secret level because I found the Game Boy? Hi, what? What the? Sorry? Don't you dare. Like, is this based on another game that I'm just not familiar with? Is this a, like, referential cameo bonus level? Yeah. I dodged in my seat. I love when a game has, like, bespoke power-ups and collectibles for a given level, biome, theme, what have you. Wait, purple is not like liquid. Okay. What uses this one? Ah, hi. Okay, that's nasty. Oh, there's something up there. What is that? Yeah, this has to be like a different game. I'm just not. Oh, money bucket. Money bucket. Yeah, that is not a health power up from Jazz. Money buckets. Hi, I'm Rich Uncle Money Bucket. I'm about to kick it. Oh. What is going on up there? How am I not seeing them slowly walk up to me? Oh, I'm just... It's like I can't even see them. Like they're blending in. It's me. It's my eyes. My eyes are dumb. Scoops. Oh, yeah, that's also the problem when you do the XY billboards. It kind of does that. Although I was looking... Turn that off, but you turn on... Okay, so this took me a little while to, like, figure out. Oh, there's a button for this. But so, when you say XY, they are so right now, this is where we're going today. We're talking about billboard rendering in games. All right, cool. Right now, the sprite is always parallel to the direction of looking. So when you're looking right at it, it looks like you're looking straight at it. But if you are sort of looking past it, it's kind of looking past you, right? So that's why if we turn horizontal to it, it kind of disappears horizontally. That's why I found this other setting called Sprite's Face Camera. So now they point at you. But it gets weird because now when you move, you see them spinning on an axis. So neither one of them looks totally right. But now at least, like, as long as you're panning over it, it looks normal. But you can kind of see it twisting as you move around, and Honestly, that one weirds me out more. And now we're getting into like, oh, the eyes on the painting follow you as you walk around the room, but it's everything. It's every power up. It's every corpse. Ugh. I can't handle that either. Let's turn that off. So it's fine. It'll be fine. We're living like this. We out here living. So why are we Chameleon Planet? Did I miss that? Here. Okay. Whoops. Why did I say whoops? Whoa, hi. Money. I do like what we got going on here. This is very like the purple is definitely throwing it off and making it feel all way more like exotic. This game doesn't have extra lives. Money bucket, yeah. Oh good, I got the rabbit bonus. What? But this is very temple feeling. It's a very temple soundtrack. Oh, now we get a good shot of whatever's going on out there. But also, like, you know, we see the three different materials here. We have the extremely, you know, man-made, intentional, chameleon-made, whatever. And then we have the natural, which is this weird, like, stone as we might know it, but then half of it is warped into some sort of taffy? The rare and beautiful taffy stone. Oh, I want that. Yep. Yep. But so yeah, this is a very cool level in the sense of door? There we go. What it's doing with, like, you know, the space it is, and giving it has a real sense of place, you know. There's I won't say full on, you know, environmental storytelling, but it there is a logic to the very environment, you know, and it is playing by a logic set. I love it. Okay, they're different. I had to interact with that door directly. Rules not applicable to bonus levels. Oh, this level is very screw the rules. We have money buckets. Money, brackets, bucket. That opened a different door we built. Right. Right. Yep, straight across. No, it seems like it's going elsewhere, but we have this door. Something could be in there. These rockets are strong. Why haven't I been using the good weapons all this time? Editor's note, see last episode. For exactly why. And nope, that's not a real wall. Oh, hey, remember when we saw that specific looking door? Now, My brain says go back and check because maybe opening the door with that symbol on it opened the door with that symbol on it. Fine. All right. We live here now. Oh! Chameleon King. Ah, just in time for lunch. Oh. I mean, cool boss fight. Ooh. Aha! Blech. Me after getting home from Pizza Hut. Oh, is the place whoa, what the heck is that? Hi? Okay. Yo, look out. He said it's Orbeus time, and then he Orbeused all over those guys. Ah. Is this now? Wait, where's the invisible chameleon bonus? 5,000 points. Okay. Alright, back to an abstract world. I love an abstract platformer world. Cheeseburger. Cheeseburger bonus. Ow. I like purple water too. I kind of like what's going on here. I like the cut of this level's jib. A jib is like a sail on a boat, right? It's related to that. Ah, whoo, whoa, what? Hi. Right, forget that. Oh, blaster power up. Oh, these bullets are getting so fat. I love it. Okay. Ow. What? What the? That's a hole. Okay. Ah! Is that a cyber snake? You have to tell me if that was a cyber snake, otherwise it's entrapment. I love when the synthesizer go do 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 do. Alright, I guess we're landing down here. Ow, ow. What? Stop it. Ah! I'm watching you. Alright. Okay. Please. Yum. Alright. Okay. Yeah, this is sickening. Oh, let's get out of the... Oh, God, it's still happening, though. I bet whatever that was... Ow. was familiar to people who played this level in the original Jazz. Slicers, I think. This is another one like that computer one, right? Like, we are getting some very unique designs, but this one is so abstracted into like, I guess I would say that it is abstracted in a way where it's not doing anything interesting, anything believable. I don't know, it's just, you can do interesting things in abstract spaces. I cannot think of any good examples because I'm bad at backing up my claims. Is that whole floor bouncy? It sure is. Let's do this. Nope. Alright, what if I do this? Ah, hey. Alright, what if I do this? Now what? Alright. Suddenly everything I was complaining about is now this is interesting. Because now we have this weird, like, verticality puzzle. Where did we come in? Did we come in through the big door? Nope, it's not a verticality puzzle. It's just vertical. But you still just want to traverse it straight across. Okay, well, hoverboard time. Hello. Aha. Oh no. Those alien bastards. Ow. What? Ow. Stop it. Uh-oh. Hoverboard time is over. Oh. That looks like a foot traversable place. Hi, I'm foot traversable. No, I don't like the sound of that. That doesn't mesh well with my don't tread on me leather jacket patch. Ow. Very fun. Ah! Nope. Come straight at me. Boy, they just really get up on you, huh? Okay. Are we... What? Are we doing like a... Ow! What? Hold on, I'm confused. Is this gonna... No? Did... Why anything? Go away. Oh, this sucks. I had to hold run and be forced into bounces and get down that hallway. You know, puzzles, I guess. Listen, they're not always going to be bangers. That's fine. If every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. And the cannon fires because that's the... Man, I'm going to watch the rest of Steven Universe one day. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That I can understand. There's so much going on here. I think. Is there another metal snake behind me? Yes! It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. That way said exit, so I better go the other way. This looks like trouble.
Rapid fire.
What? I believe that means invulnerability. What? They're on ostriches! They're jousting! Do I get to joust? What is going on? Oh, please blow up before the invulnerability runs out. He didn't. It's okay. I have seeker missiles. There we go. Is there more of you? Rapid fire?
Rapid fire.
Okay. All right. Again, that was a lot. Yeet, he says. Maybe I had to go this way. If there's a switch there, I bet that means I had to come this way before going to the exit. Yeah. The exit's not that way. The exit's this way. Exits. How do we do? Hey, all the secret. Welcome to Tur Temple. You have managed to get a head start in your long journey, but you hear rumors of some sort of airbase that Devon has made. You must hurry, as we don't know what ideas Devon has in store. Complete with a discount. Has in-store complete with a Your adventure has begun. The rabbit hole is going to get deeper, more nefarious. Foes are waiting for you. Teach those turtles nature intended them to be more turtle terror. There might be a cropping issue here. Okay, and my understanding is this is the beginning of episode 2. But I've kept all my stuff. All right, I'm going to make a quick save right here. Oh, you know what? Let's play a little more. I want to play another level or two. Again, we're in the realm of these are levels at this point I'm only assuming everything is based on the original Jazz, right? Because we're out of the realms of the levels from the shareware version. Basically. I want to know what else is here. All right, tower time. Sure. Alright. I believe these orbs are gonna just be like bonus points. That's fine. Learning. We're exploring. I do love just I love when a building has like an internal courtyard surrounded by a building on all sides. I love this idea of like, yes, we have created a pocket of outdoors. Weirdly, I remember the middle school had a couple of courtyards like, I won't say like this, but they did have this sense of just like, hey, we have, it's almost like creating a zoo for the outside, not just animals. I don't know. It's like when you're at a museum and they have to build like a fake outside to show you, you know, to build a scene of cavemen during the hunt or whatever. But what if instead of building a fake outdoors indoors, we just put real outdoors and capture it indoors, but it's still outdoor? I'm gonna guess that's not the answer here. Okay. That one looks different. That one looks different. Is there like a switch over here that I just didn't notice? This is where I'm going to regret saying just one more level. Right? Right? See, but that also looks to me like there's a blue-colored switch you hit on the overworld map that makes that door disappear, makes these blocks disappear in every level where they appear. But this isn't built like that. Oh! There was just a switch in the direction... I mean, alright, I guess you would see it right here. Although it's kind of close. Listen. Whoa. You know what? That got me. Collapsing floor. That absolutely got me. All right. Whoa. Shoots everybody, I guess. Ah! I mean, if you ask me, that is like what Doom should be about, is tricks and traps, and if you pull this switch, the wall's gonna close in on you. If you pull this switch, the door's gonna open, you know? I've talked about that a lot in other maps, the idea of like one of the best ways to build tension in a game or something is just obviously telegraphing, hey, there is trouble here, and also a thing you want here. And in order to get the thing you want, you're either going to go through the trouble or release with trouble and deal with it on the way back from getting a thing. And like, what the heck did that switch do? So yeah, I am all about put my tricksy trapses in here. What? Well, it's just an elevator now? Alright. The music is chilled out considerably. Is this pan flute? Is this synthesized pan flute? By which I mean pan flute, which does not occur in nature, has only been formulated in a lab. Listen, I'm no musician. Although, what happens if you put a steel drum in a centrifuge, you know? I'm just asking the questions. That's an aggressive boy over there. Where am I getting shot from? Everywhere. Did I get him? Whoa, hello. Oh, somebody was flexing their 3D Doom skills.
Rapid fire.
Right. Ah, my friend. Welcome. You are free now. Join me in battle. Can I tell you? Something that levels like this make me think about is these days we love to have progression in our video games. But I do kind of miss the sort of level-long power-ups. It's just like, yeah, no, like, this is a cool tool to have. It will make you stronger in a way that trivializes a lot of things. But it only lasts till the end of the level. You know, I guess when you're trying to do, like, open or at least interconnected worlds without, like, specific level breaks, then that is a harder concept to pin down. Well, when should it end? But, like, the Berserker Pack from Doom is a perfect example of that, right? It is, like, if you find it, hey, it gives you a cool new tool. It can be very useful. It can allow you to change up your tactics. It can encourage you to change up your tactics. It can be a reward. It doesn't necessarily have to be necessary, but maybe it can, you know, allow access to optional things. Like, there's things you can do. Like imagine double jump, right? Imagine a game where double jump is a power-up that you find on a stage, and then you have it for the rest of the stage. I think that would be cool. I think that is something that games should play with more. The thing that I was actually been thinking about was specifically Mario, you know? Hey, you hear about this guy Mario? Hey, y'all hear about Mario? What was I saying? Mario, yeah. So, like, when Mario, he eat the mushroom, he get big, right? We know this is what happens. This is logical. This is rule of nature. But mechanically, a couple of things are happening, right? He is... A big Mario is functionally different from a small Mario. It has increased functionality, if you will. Big Mario can break the blocks with his head, which means he can get access. I'm trying to remember specifically, like, what is it? It's like in 1-2, there's like a secret room where if you're big, you can break the block and get into where the coins are, but if you're small, you just have to pass it by, right? That kind of thing. But being big, in addition to giving you, nope. Is there a? Yes, there is. Oh, this is parkour. Oh, I love secret parkour. Hell yeah. I don't need any of this stuff. That looks different. Why is that one different? If that's not a door or anything, so I feel like that was a mistakenly just got the wrong wall texture. Mario's bigness, in addition to being an ability upgrade, is also a shield. It is a increased health, you know? It is a healthier status. When you're healthier, you are more, you have more abilities. This is true to real life. And that one is true, actually. But so, there's also this concept then, which Mario does not take very far, but is there. Mario is the kind of game where the healthier you are, the better you are at not taking damage, the more functionality you have, the more options and tools and abilities you have available to you. And I really wanted to sort of play with that idea that your abilities are they are twofold. They are the sort of like obvious, probably offensive ability that they are, but then they are also shields. Like the game I picture is basically Mega Man, but for every, like, I don't know, I just tie it to coins. Like for every 10 coins you get like rapid fire or double jump or charge shot. Like those are all abilities that you have to, you know, get your collectible to charge up. You need to work to gain that ability. But then also they are each like pips on a health bar. So if you have all 4 abilities, you can also take like 4 hits before dying. And it becomes this balance of like, I want to play with that idea, partially because I also don't know if I think it's a good idea, right? Because this is an idea that also comes up in mech tabletop war games, is this idea of like, oh, if your ability to function is tied to your health, then like, well, I guess it's worse in turn-based competitive things, right? Because then basically whoever goes second is permanently at an ability disadvantage. Oh, that is platforming. Oh, this is platforming, baby. Guy missed. But that is for ow, ow, ow. But that particular situation is what? I'm having enough trouble. You know, that is a problem when you're talking about multiplayer games, because whoever goes second is at a disadvantage. It's not really a thing. It's about turn-based because there is this idea of second, not just in a real-time gauge. It is up for grabs who is first to sort of engage and what is it called in fencing to like take right of way? But there's this idea of like, it's it is this element of like, well, okay, actually the idea being if you are starting at minimum, I think that actually helps, right? Because if you're starting at full health, you're only ever losing ability. You're only ever like becoming worse. But if you start at your minimum level, then you're sort of working to become better. Because so the thing about like becoming less powerful as you lose health, that is a that's actually sort of a 2-point swing, because not only are you closer to the lose state of being dead, but you are now also less capable of staying away from that lose state, because you move slower, you're less evasive, you're literally just have less hit points, or that's not it, but like you have less abilities to mitigate incoming damage, right? So it is like a systems where you get less powerful as you take damage are very momentum heavy, and it is momentum towards losing, and I just think that always feels bad. Like there's a lot of ways that narratively makes sense, like I know I already said war games, but there's a house up there, that's cool. Wow, I let these birds out, and now there's like arrow fighting happening. I love this. This is a cool zone too, actually. Here, can I actually just... Where's a cool place to take a photo from here? Kind of right here, actually. Yeah, it builds momentum towards losing. Like, once you start to lose, you're more likely to lose. Like, in a lot of game systems like that, I end up looking at it and kind of going like, hey, this should just be first hit kills. You know, it's like the risk problem of, like, as soon as one player takes like half the board, they're going to win. But, rules of the game as stated, at least originally, a lot of modern versions of Risk adjust these rules. It's just like, no, as soon as one player has gained enough momentum that it is clear they're going to win, it is their game to lose, that's when the game should just end, Don't have to... You shouldn't need to play out the bleeding out. Some people like that. My understanding is that games like Frostpunk is a game about you start bleeding out, and a large part of that game is just, hey, how good are you at mitigating the bleeding? How good are you at triage? And like, if that's what you want to go for, cool. That's fine. Ow! Friendly fire. Interesting. But at that point, it's like a measure of taste. Like, I think a game like that is legit, and there are people who want that experience. I never want that experience. Personally. I don't enjoy that experience. But, whatever. Different people. Different strokes. You have to say it with an L because it's supposed to rhyme with folks. Wargroove, Advance Wars, right? Similar kind of thing, where when you create a unit, it is like, hey, you always want to be the one to strike first, because striking first is the only way to sort of strike at full health. The counterattacking is never as powerful. And in that sense, like, even if you get hurt from attacking, you will get less hurt because by attacking first. Oh, birds can let out birds! Birds can let out birds! Yes! Yes! Oh, this is amazing news! Sorry, I got psyched.
Rapid fire.
Like, even in the oh my gosh! What the? In Advance Wars, there's no way to have an attack without taking damage, unless it's an insta-kill, right? But like in an all things even fight where it's not going to be an insta-kill, like you still want to attack first, because even though you're going to take damage, if you attack first, you are going to end up taking less damage because the counterattack will happen from a weakened enemy. Ooh, I ran out of an ammo type. Cool. So yeah, it just always works out like that's what you get. It is always a race to mitigate bleeding. All bleeding stops eventually. You just want it to happen on your terms, I guess. What was I bringing this up with? Oh, right, in like a Mario kind of situation with coins and game abilities and whatnot. Right, but if you start with, you know, characters at a minimum level of ability at the start, then it actually starts to feel like back in... Oh, I have to go that way. Then it starts to feel like a back and forth in a way that feels like the fact that you have gained the ability. The fact that you can lose the ability is evidence that at some point you were able to gain the ability, and like the fact that you were survived was also something you earned. And I think it's also part of game feel, right? Like it is the idea of what is your default state? What are you at neutral? What is the world you know when you were born? Okay, now I'm going over the garden wall with it. But like if I have stuff and then stuff is taken away from me, it always feels or like if all right, getting over it, right? A weird kind of example, but it was playing in exactly the sort of realm that I'm thinking about, right? Like what is worse? To start at 1, get to 10, and end up back at 1 by the end, or to like start at 1 and end up at -4 at the end, you know? Like I think it always feels better that like there is this idea of, hey, what is the basic state of this person? What are they at? Like give the player like, hey, this is what you are like at minimum, and they become comfortable sort of like self-identifying that as them, you know? And then any power level above that feels like power, you know? It feels like, oh, this is so much better than my neutral. To the point where like then also when they come back to 0, you're just like, well, I'm not that upset because I used to be at this point and I reached that level of power before, so I will be able to do that again. You know, there's sort of this like, you've already shown the power gain, so you can be like, okay, I have seen the example of me gaining power, so I can imagine being able to do it again. Whereas in a game where you only lose ability, it's just like, well, I'm just losing. You know, you only ever see the downhill. It's disheartening, I think. I find it disheartening. How about that? Oh, let's go to Nippius. Bring your jacket. I hear it's a little bit Nippius. Oh, it is. Are those snowmen hawking loogies at me? So yeah, now having talked this out, I am a little more convinced that this idea might be a good idea. Like, yeah, no, you're gonna lose your double jump, but you didn't have it to begin with, so it's not gonna feel bad. Or like, what's the game? What am I thinking of? Radius? Sorry, maybe you're thinking of Life Force. Listen, whatever. But like the you know, the way power-ups in that game work, like you start at a minimum, and you earn power-ups over time. Also, I'm also imagining this in more like a Mario Brothers, a single-player platformer kind of thing, you know? Not as a competitive game. But, well, like that's the Gradius. I was just talking about Gradius. Like the part in Gradius where like you build up so many power-ups and you're like, oh, I am fully kitted out, I'm good. But then one hit brings you back down to 0, and at some point you're just like, I am so deep in the game that you need a certain amount of power-ups. Where it's just like, okay, this is now impossible because I have messed up, right? Like, but that's also because you go from full down to 0. So like in the one that I'm imagining, every hit just makes you lose like one of your abilities, so it is as many hits as you have built up abilities or whatever. The idea of like ranking the abilities is like, you know, is double jump better than a charge shot, so it should be harder to get and easier to lose. That's something for somebody with a spreadsheet to figure out, not me. Couldn't be me. But the idea of only losing one piece at a time, like it is not suddenly you go from kitted out to screwed, but it is like, oh, I'm starting to bleed a little bit. Okay, I better use what I have left to, you know, stabilize my condition. Again, it's about, then we get back into, you know, those games that are about mitigating bleeding. Like I said, I don't think those are bad games. It's just but at the same thing, for that kind of game, that the concept of that kind of game is that you are bleeding, not getting one hit knocked out, you know? People do like a bleeding game because it makes you have the opportunity to you know, recover or last longer. Like, there are things you can do about the bleeding. It's not much you can do about getting killed in one shot. I'm looking at you, Dark Souls. I'm looking at you, a number of games. Like, even Smash, if we want to talk about this in like competitive settings, Smash, that's kind of what they do with the with, like, you know, you don't just die when you hit 0. You always have this like, oh, I am coming closer and closer to being unrecoverable, but I'm still recoverable. There's still a way for me to like mitigate what's happening and maybe even like start to recover from it. But in general, everyone is always working towards, like, the momentum is always in the direction of getting more hurt and getting closer to being knocked out, right? Generally. You can really change that up depending on, you know, item selection and such. Stop? What? I don't know. That's kind of an interesting idea to me of just how come losing powers that you didn't start with feels better than losing powers that you did start with, you know? I don't know. Like, it really makes sense to me, but it also seems like that shouldn't... It's one of those ones where, like, my gut says, oh, absolutely, that makes total sense, but I can't, like, put, like, verbal logic to why. Which, man, trying to put, like, verbal logic to gut feelings is... That's my catnip. I'm sure you've all realized this by now. That is a frustratingly good time for me, some would say. Let's bounce. Yee. I like this I like this chamber. I don't know. We come down into it. There's like a fight happening here. It's a bunch of stuff. Not really like a good angle to look at it from, though. Well, maybe. Hang on. Actually, okay. While I'm here, we're almost done here anyway. There was a thing. Was it in post-processing? Yes, the lens distortion effect, where everything gets stretched out a little bit as it gets near the edge. I kind of want to... Oh, yeah, let's put some of that on. I should turn that on. Let's turn that on for a minute, because why not? Is that going to give me a headache? Lens distortion? Oh, that might be too much post-processing to also be streaming. Yeah, I think I'm almost done. We've been going for an hour and a half. Well, listen. Talk to Joe about that. We have plans. I really thought that ceiling was going to squish me for some reason. That is a squish-coated ceiling. You know, the concept of the malocchio, you know, the evil eye. I should find out what the Latin or Italian for critical eye is, because it'll make it sound way more sinister. Yeah, not to give too much away, but right now there is a it is the 5-year anniversary for Deep Rock, and something they have done is while the event is going on, you can boot up the like first public release 2019 version and play it back then, and it's like, we don't expect you to have fun with this, we're not going to support this. Oh, who is that? But it's just like, hey, if you just want to see how far we've come, play this old version, and yes, it'll be bad. We know. Have fun. I was like, all right, yeah. I love to see how far we've come. Yes. Again, we're still getting a lot of this, the natural and the man-made mixing together. Like, I do like that a lot of these places are built into the natural world. Am I actually running out of ammo? Cool. I'm actually using it this time. What the? Stop it. Stop getting under my feet. Am I in a bad place? Hello. Oh, yeah, let's bounce. Apparently I'm full on this. Huh. What? Who? Oh, hi. You're having a party out there. Oh, okay. That was cool. Yeah, so I think our plan is to do that while the event is going on. We want to take a look at that and just... Cause I know we picked up the game a while ago, even if we didn't get into playing it super right away. It's just chilling. So I'm really curious to see what a version that old is going to look and feel like. Ow, ow. Now what? Oop. Ha ha! Parkour is now what? Who are you? Oh, it's a rabbit wearing the Doom outfit. Oh yeah, that's me. It's me. Okay. Good. I'm glad we saw one more level. Okay. I do got to figure out somewhere to go now. I guess this was like a bonus area. Yeah, because I had to open a door to get to it, so maybe it was... What looks like a door? Secret area that leads... Okay, there's space up there. Maybe it is that. Something over here look... like jumpable? No. I haven't seen a switch to, like, open up that wall, right? Although, it wouldn't be the first time there was a switch that I just did not see. That's the noise when you know you're deep in a Doom level. And stuck. Yeah, I would have expected, like, a switch around here somewhere. Hey, can you open a door for me? Ugh. Oh! The one with extra fire lanterns around it. Kind of blocking this off to force you to go through here. Yeah, I just did not see that. Like, okay, now that I have found it, I'm like, oh yes, I see how they have, like, literally light posted this. Sign posted? Lighthoused? Whatever. Light post. Yeah, why not? And yet it still kind of didn't work. Like, it's just like, no, just turn it. Just, like, telling you where it is without telling you where it is always kind of worse than just putting it directly in your sight line. It's just like, which way are people going to be looking? Down this way. Which way is the switch visible from? This one little specific space, like about here going forward, but also, you know, you put power-ups over there. So my eye line, like, yes, this is in my vision, but my eye line is focused on the power-ups down here. I'm like, ooh, what's this here? You know, this is a more obvious... At this point, the more important thing is less obvious than something else, you know? And I dropped that. Yeah, okay. So, little changes. My understanding is like they've done a bunch of releases of this as they were adding more levels, you know, the third episode, all of that. So it might be a bit late to really be like, hey, here's some feedback. You should change these little things. What was that? Last what was it? The switch by the blue wall, and there was another one kind of like that too, right? That I missed just because, like, I didn't turn in the right direction at one point. Ah! Let's bounce. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, jumping required. Oh, like they say, when invulnerable. When invulnerable in Rome. It's such a good bounce noise. Okay, so here's a thing that I feel like isn't really codified, but maybe should be. But then even if it was, I bet people would break away from it just for the sake of being novel. In a situation like this, where you have, like, the correct way, which is a challenge way, like it is a platforming challenge that you need to pass to progress. We have the falling down there, which is like your fail state. But it is also a second area. So because I got this right on the first try, that's a whole area I didn't explore, right? And my design recommendation is don't hide secrets in a fail state area. Don't encourage like checking something that is only there as a backup plan, right? Because like I am fighting an urge inside to just, now that I have finished this successfully, to just hop down and like ultimately have myself do it all again, because there's a whole area I didn't explore, right? And there's not this like general design philosophy that says like, yeah, no, don't put anything secret down there. It's not for, exploring secrets or anything, right? Like it is there to be like, hey, you failed, but it was a safe failure. You have free reign to try again. It is a safe failure is what that zone down there is. And then we have the challenge zone that's like, you're staying here. If you do it right, you stay here the entire time and you make it to the end. If you do want to take a section like this and add a secret to it, I feel like it should be sort of a third route that is a harder challenge than the mainline challenge zone, right? Like if there was a hole up on one of the walls where you had to do like a weird parkour off a prop onto a pillar to get to the hole in the wall, that should be where the secret is. Not like if you hide a secret down here in the safe failure zone, I feel like that is like functionally counterintuitive to the point of being rude. Like I'm sure that's only a way that I feel, but like that's kind of what my gut feels. It's just like, no, like we have an understanding about this. If you go down there, it's a failure zone. There is no reward for being down there. You're putting that there is a kindness that is like, hey, you don't just die, you get to try again, you get rewarded for passing challenges. The idea of like rewarding you for like intentionally failing is kind of what it feels like hiding a secret down there would do. And that's, again, counterintuitive, or like I don't even like that, like as a player. Like I don't like the idea that somebody was designing a game is saying just like, hey, you should fail occasionally in order to get something good out of it. Like, well, actually putting it that way, it kind of makes sense why, Dark Souls style games have always rubbed me the wrong way, specifically the ones where like they will not tell you which way to go, but there is only going to be one zone that you are like leveled to accomplish. So there's sort of a trial of error of like, well, I died when I went that way. I died when I went that way. I died when I went that way. I made a little progress that way, so I should probably keep going that way. This idea of like, that is that similar kind of idea of like, no, you are gaining necessary, useful knowledge. You are sort of progressing knowledge-wise through failure. And it's just like, I don't like throwing myself, requiring me to throw myself into failure just feels like the opposite of games. Like I don't know whether it's like direct competition games or even like, we do talk about beating even single player games, which is usually just like reaching the end, seeing the credits, getting through it, whatever. So this idea of just like there is a sort of out of game design, there's like a almost cultural level of when you play a game, your overall goal is going to be to win. So to put in a design that asks you, hey, you should try intentionally failing every once in a while, feels like it almost feels like the game designer is asking me to waste my time. I think that's why I say it feels counterintuitive to the point of being rude. I feel like it's asking me it would be asking me to waste my time in a really weird way. But yeah, adding a challenge on top of the challenge, like, hey, you could do this like what was it in Mario Maker when people were making the bow down finishes? It's just like, oh yeah, you can finish this. But then there's this secret extra challenge finish where you can kind of show off a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, okay, make like the like, yeah, no, here's the main line, and then here's the super cool main line. Like that's part of what I like about all the secret exits in Mario World, right? And even in some weird ways, like Mario 3 and Mario's with Warp Zones, this idea of just like, hey, you need to do something interesting and sometimes more challenging to, like, getting up on top of the bricks in Mario 1, that is like a certain level of skill that the game does not ask of you for other reasons. So there's just like, hey, you have reached this level of skill, you've done this thing that looks like you've broken the game, but we are rewarding you for it with, you know, warp zone progress, extra items, whatever, right? I know it's very me. I understand this is like very personal. This is very much like my specific brain wiring and what just like gutturally feels fair to me. But you know, I'm right now I am more interested in just like putting the point of this exercise here is I'm putting the words to my feelings, because it does feel like unfair or rude or something to me. I'm just trying to put words to those so I can like have a conversation about it, not actually trying to defend my point or even say I'm right about this, you know? Like, listen, feeling this way, I could believe makes me some kind of idiot, but it is the way I feel. Right, anyway, let's finish this level. If that's the kind of conversation I'm having, that means I should go have dinner and a nap. Raviolis and a nap. There's another way, right? And listen, I would love to have the discussion and like counter arguments to everything I just said, but I know a lot of people feel like that is like having an argument, not a fun conversation. So I'm trying to learn not to push it. I also don't know what it looks like when people, I don't know what the signal for people being down for that conversation is, because there are a lot of people who like will lean into having an argument even though that's against them. See Twitter. You know, it's like, I'm not looking forward to having an argument, but my gut will make me lean into it. I've had a lot of misunderstandings with people specifically for that. Oh, it's the exit. Okay. Look at that. All right, let's peek at the level. We'll save and bonus. We got a bonus stage. What did I get a bonus stage for? Yes. Oh, get blue spheres. This is like exactly the Jackrabbit bonus stage, which in itself was kind of the Sonic CD bonus stage. I have a tweet somewhere. If you just look at who wore it better, I believe I posted the comparisons. Oh yeah, no, this was all mode 7. It was so cool. At the time, it was so cool. Oh no, I'm back in my nostalgia. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. I went the wrong way. I'm not going to be able to double back now. Oh, no, wait. I can still do this. I think if you hit that stop over there, it ends your run early. Or, no, it just says exit. Okay, let's get to the... I got all the coins. Let's get to the exit. Coins? Gemeralds? They're gemeralds. No UFOs are chasing me. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. A Doom stage where you can beat par. Oh, it's hard to find. Oh, we're going to Young Rock. Jungian psychology. Oh boy. Okay. We're gonna save it right there. I'm gonna pause it. I am gonna bring us back over to... Nope, that's not it. This one. Hey, folks. Thank you for hanging out with me here today and checking out more Jazz Jackrabbit. I don't know if we need to play any more of this. I might want to play some more of this, but like honestly, it's... I feel like it is very plain. I feel like even calling it plain makes it sound like I'm talking bad on it. Like it's doing some fun stuff. I think it is doing an excellent job as a nostalgia trip. I think it's doing some fun things on its own. Like I said, I think it is doing some very like competent and interesting ways of porting those old levels. But even then, like, you know, they're based on old levels. There's nothing super exciting to talk about in this kind of context that it's offering, even though it's otherwise fine. So I'm probably going to check out more of this, but maybe next time we do one of these streams, we will be looking at something different. I don't think there's a problem with that. But yeah, this was fun. I had a good time. I hope you did too. And until the next time we do an episode, take care of one another. Have a good night, everybody.